Hi, I'm Elaine Harding. Welcome to my blog at stampwithelaine.com. Today I have a whitewash technique using the Cottage Rose cling stamp set. This is the whitewash technique. The Cottage Rose bundle comes from the Abigail Rose suite. You'll find it on pages 56 to 57 in the 2022 annual catalogue. This is the stamp set and these are the dies. I'm going to be using this image here. To do this technique you need a linear image, white craft ink, a paintbrush. Now the water painters actually come in a pack of 3, but I'm using an old one because pigment ink dries really quite hard and I just want to protect my other brushes, so I'm using an old brush. You need an acrylic block as well to pick up the ink from the ink pad. The other inks I'm using are Smoky Slate, Petal Pink and Pear Pizzazz, clear embossing powder and Versamark ink, and of course a heat tool. The other set of dies I'm using are the split card textures dies. I'm going to be using this one. Partially die cut this grid here. I'm also giving you a sneak peek of a new punch from the mini catalogue for July to December 2022. I can't show you the inside. It's launching on the 1st of July. But this is one of the punches that comes from the new mini catalogue, and I've used it on this label here. This is the corner, give you that detail. So the card base measures 11 3/4 inches by 4 1/8. In metric that's 29 centimeters by 10.5, and you fold it in half. The card front is in Smoky Slate, and for the inside of the card is basic white. Both these have been cut at 3 3/4 inches by 5 1/2. In metric that's 9.5 by 14 centimeters. For the label, this measures 2 1/2 by 1 1/2. In metric I've rounded it off, so it's 6.5 by 4 centimeters. I also need some adhesive backed Pear Pizzazz cardstock. This is just a scrap. And for the finishes for the card we need some natural finish ribbon and the elegant faceted dots. I have good news to tell you. In the new July to December mini, the embossing buddy is coming back, but in addition we have a tray, tweezers and a brush to go with it in the set. I will show you this in another video, but let's concentrate on doing this first. So I've put the anti-static powder on. Now I want to ink up my stamp from Rose Cottage, or Cottage Rose, sorry. And the reason why I do this is because when you put a wet brush to the image that you want to paint, sometimes the definition will disappear. So I've inked this up in Versamark first and then the Petal Pink. I sprinkle clear embossing powder over the top. Bring in the heat tool and set the embossing powder. So if you hold it up like this and work your way down, and as soon as you see the embossing powder change, you move your heat tool along. Now the reason why I emboss the image when I'm doing this technique is because from past experience, when you wet the image with your white ink, sometimes it can lose the definition. So you have to be really careful of not getting it onto the little lines here. Can you see the detail on that? But if you emboss it, then you don't have to worry. Now I'm going to use my old craft ink pad. I'll pick that up, the ink up with a block. And I really ought to have a kitchen towel with me to blot up the ink. But let's wing it, shall we? So keep within the lines. So I'm going to work from the outer edge of the flower toward the centre. I'm just going to wipe my acrylic block and before I pick up more ink, so that the water doesn't contaminate the ink pad. Just add a bit more. Next I'm going to pick up some ink from my Pear Pizzazz ink pad, wet the brush again and just put a bit of green on the leaves. Next I want to pick up just a tiny bit of petal pink and add a bit, just a hint of petal pink on here. Next I want to partially die cut my trellis, and I know that I don't want to go beyond a certain part. So I'm going to move my cardstock so that part of it is off the plate, and I'm going to pop that on like so. Bring in my machine and I'm going to roll it. It's not straight. So I'm going to roll it, but I don't want it to roll past the edge of this board because then it will leave a mark on the cardstock. So I've got my finger there and I know not to go beyond that. So I'll just run it round for good measure once more and then roll it back. So there's my partially die cut piece. So I'm going to glue this to the card front. I need to die cut 2 open work leaves, so I'll do that off camera and I'll be back. I'll just peel this off. So then I'll pop this on to my card to cover up the bits here. Grab some ribbon and see how much I need. So I'll put this round about there. And this can go underneath here. And then let's stamp the label. Ink up the stamp with smoky slate and stamp. Not intense enough, so I'll stamp it again. One more time for luck. Now I'm going to use this corner punch. This is a new one. It's called the Very Best Trio Punch. So here you've got the guidelines for putting your cardstock in. So you butt it up to the corner like so, and press from the middle, flip the card over and do the opposite corner and do the same with this. Flip it over and there you've got that detail. Oh bother, I forgot to press record. I've used this leaf image to fill in some of the blank spaces on the label. There's just a little bit more stamping to do. Now because this stamp is large, I take my ink pad to the stamp rather than the other way round. So I'm just going to stamp in the bottom here. And apply adhesive and adhere that to the inside of the card. Make sure it's the right way round. Grab some dimensionals. Last finishing touch, some elegant faceted gemstones. So I hope you've enjoyed today's whitewash technique with the Cottage Road stamp set and the sneak peek with the Very Best Trio punch. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll be back soon with more inspiration. I won't provide the links yet till after the July to December 2020 mini has launched on 1st July. Thanks for watching. Bye.